Have you ever heard of something called the Big Bang? Scientists think that this is how the universe began. We don't know that much about it because it happened a very, very long time ago, but we do know a few things. So, Northumberland Space Programme cadets, get your space suits on. We're going back in time. In the beginning, there was nothing. Absolutely zip, zilch, zero, nothing. Then there was something. And that something was a really, really hot soup. In this soup, there were tiny things called particles.
Hang on, what's a particle?
Oh, that's easy. It's just a tiny thing.
Really?
Yeah, really. So, back to the hot soup with the tiny things called particles. These particles were rushing around because they were really, really hot, and they were smashing into one another. After about a second, the soup started to cool down, and this meant that some of these particles got stuck together and became something called an element.
What's an element?
Elements are basic building blocks. Everything in the universe is made of elements. It's kind of like those really simple Lego bricks.
Are cars made of elements?
Yep.
Is the sea made of elements?
Yep.
Is an elephant made of elements?
Yep.
Am I made of elements?
Absolutely.
Wow, everything really is made of elements.
Back to our soup. So now it's gone cold and it's also gone lumpy. And the lumps are our brand new elements. The colder the soup gets, the lumpier it gets. And the more and more elements are made. But at the moment, these lumps can only make two elements, hydrogen and helium. These are really simple elements, and they look a little bit like this. And this. If it makes it easier, you can think of them a little bit more like this. And this. The soup keeps getting lumpier and lumpier with more and more helium and hydrogen. For the next 380,000 years, in fact. That's twice as long as humans have been on Earth for. And that's when things get really cool. With so much hydrogen and helium hanging around in the universe, some of it starts to get pulled together by something called gravity.
Wait, what's gravity?
Gravity is a type of force. It's kind of like a superhero with a superpower. And gravity's superpower is to pull everything towards a central point. So in this case, gravity makes hydrogen and helium bunch up and squeeze together tighter and tighter. Gravity makes them so tight they become really hot, like penguins in a huddle. Eventually, they got so hot and so tightly huddled together that they became a star, a giant ball of really, really hot huddled together elements that make loads and loads of heat and light.
Like a light bulb?
Yeah, but way bigger. More like the sun, which is a star.
Ah, I get it. So what happened next?
Well, nothing. For ages, anyway. And when I say ages, I mean like the next 2 billion years.
Whoa, that's a long time.
It certainly is. After all that time, these stars also started to huddle together, but not quite so close. These huddles ended up making pretty shapes like this. Or this. Or this. These are called galaxies, and there are loads of them.
Wow, they're so pretty. Why are they so swirly?
Well, that's because everything in a galaxy is in orbit.
What does orbit mean?
Being in orbit around something means you're spinning around it. Like this. That's why galaxies look so swirly. So, back to stars. In each galaxy, there are loads of stars. Sometimes stars get too old and die. Usually they do this by exploding, which sounds scary, but can be very beautiful. It's also really useful because stars do something super cool. On the inside of stars, where it's really hot and elements are huddled together really closely, the elements start to stick together, and this forms new elements like carbon or oxygen. Things like carbon and oxygen are super useful things to create life, like dogs, cats, plants, and you. Cheers, stars.
Whoa, this is all so big and amazing. It kind of hurts my head. How do you know all this anyway?
What do you mean?
Like, how does anyone know any of it? Big Bang, particles, elements, gravity, stars?
Now that's pretty cool. And it's all to do with looking into the past. It's kind of like time travel.
Time travel?
Kind of. Okay, do you know how we see things? We can see things when light hits our eyes. That means that in order to see anything, we have to wait for light to reach us. It's sort of like someone sending a letter to your eyes with information in it, right?
Right.
Normally, we're pretty close to things. How close are you right now to the person next to you? Or to the things outside the window? You're pretty close. So light doesn't take that long to reach your eyes because light travels really, really fast. But the thing to remember is that the universe is also really, really, really big. Some of the things we're looking at in the sky, the stars and the galaxies, are so far away that it takes millions of years for the light from them to reach us. So imagine that the letter has had to travel for millions and millions of years. The information in it is going to be really old. If the light from a star arrives at our eyes and it's taken millions of years to get there, then the picture we see is also millions of years old.
So we're seeing what a star looked like millions of years ago, rather than what it looks like right now?
Exactly. Time travel. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
So anyway, when we look out into the universe, we're also looking back in time, like reading an old letter. So the further away we look, the further back in time we're looking. And we can look so far back that we can see the Big Bang.
What does it look like?
Aha! Well, it's big and it's beautiful. And over the next 7 days, we're going to discover some of its coolest secrets. See you there, Space Cadets.